Should be good. Thursday, the 7th of August. Breaking down the NQ. Should be okay. Gonna break down just on the daily just to show you where we have come. I've taken all my drawings off just so I can break this down with you from scratch in terms of what I'm looking at. So on the daily, we're still looking at that high to high, which is in play. So that is what I'll be referring to, and that that extension is from the high of the 15th of May. Just double check that, sorry. Yeah, 15th of May. Okay, any questions this morning, put them into the Discord, and I will go through them as we go. Oh, sorry, Julian, have I not? My apologies. I didn't post a link this morning, I don't think, in the Discord. So anyway, breaking down the NQ again, that is our daily level. And remember, that is the only time we have traded an ATR since the good old Trump tweet back in April. So it's been some time, 3 or 4 months since we've actually traded an ATR, which is nice. We've actually got that confirmation. And of course, that gives us targets to the upside back into this completion at 24,340. So going into the lower time frames, the extensions that we've been in all week, we showed the 61 retracement, which came out of the halfway back. So that was the daily 50, the weekly halfway back, and then we had micros in here. So you can see those have completed. I had an alert set this morning at 5:43s, which has now completed, which is what I put in the Discord this morning. So nice to see that has finally completed. And the only real thing I'm going to be looking for, I'm going to break down the extensions, but of course this will be a valid extension. That is probably all I'm going to try and potentially bid today. And most likely that will be, I will try and get as close to the 50 and the 62 as possible. If the 38 bids and I miss it, then so be it. But I'm going to try if I can, just because I want to. And this is textbook in terms of what I was trying to explain yesterday, in terms of wait until price is above the previous day high for longs. It is so simple yet so effective. Like yesterday down here, we just weren't there, right? And yes, it was a grind higher, but it just, in my opinion, is so much easier to trade these type of setups for my style of trading. So yes, yesterday's trade did work, and it did, it was technical, right? I mean, this doesn't get any more technical. If we zoom out, you've got the daily halfway back, and I'm going to put this in dashed so you can see this is the daily. That is your daily halfway back, right? What do we have out of that? A traditional that trades low, high, halfway back, completes. Same anchor new high, halfway back, completes the 23 this morning, micro extensions inside. So as clean as it was yesterday, there was a couple of things I just wasn't liking. Again, bias is still bearish on the BX, right? In terms of momentum, right? And all this means for me is when we get this breakout, it's probably going to last a while. So I don't mind missing any of this in terms of the long side, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not like I'm not taking trades in here. What I'm trying to say is when we get out of here and we start printing green bars, it's just going to be money making, like in territory for me, basically. It's going to be a lot easier to trade the longs once the momentum is in the bull side, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, and that's what I'm trying to wait for, patiently wait for. And this week, in terms of your linear regression, which you can see, and also trend on the week, we are obviously trending up since pretty much Monday was a bit of a dud. And since Tuesday, we've pretty much been grinding up on most of the indexes. The SMH was quite weak yesterday, but pretty much found that support and has grinded right back up into that linear regression high. Obviously, this will move with price, so it's just a gauge. It's not something you trade necessarily off. But anyway, yeah, that will be the high to high, and you could be more patient, and maybe I wait for a full high to high from what would be yesterday's anchor. I think both are valid, and that 38 of yesterday's draw, which is the anchor from 4 a.m. I'm just going to look at the regular trading session hours only, just for a second, just to see the time frames on the open, because there was a traditional. It was sloppy because it broke. Yeah, this was it a 79% fade long? Yeah, a 79% fade long did trade, and look, it closed at the negative 100. I mean, just textbook, right? Textbook. Textbook in the sense of it wasn't the 50, but it did trade the 79. It stayed above, and it did complete that negative 100. So that was really nice yesterday. That negative 100. So you could look for the potential of this reversal back down to, and look how amazing that does, how it lines up with that trend. So 332s will be a line in the sand for me, okay? Line in the sand, meaning you want to be holding that level. If price starts to consolidate and come down, it's most likely going to be an instant cut for me, and I will just sit on hands until we're back above that level, and I will wait until we're back above, grind higher. If we're at or below, I just sit on hands, okay? So that's the RT8 session. Again, it will be 330. Yeah, 330s will be the support. And on the electronic trading hours, I will keep the extension anchor from yesterday, which is, I mean, there's two, right? But essentially, you want to try and get, in my opinion, as close to. You can see how that 330s, if it trades, you are going to be below the extended trading session hour trend and also previous day high. So that's probably going to be a level that I don't really do much with. I would probably just not want to do anything at that level. I wouldn't short and I wouldn't necessarily long. So I'll keep an eye on it, but I just realised it's obviously going to be below yesterday's high. So I'll keep it on my screen, but I don't know if I'll do much with it. It will also be ATR lows as well. So again, cheap trade, but I'll see how I feel about that. I think the best or the easiest trade for me is going to be the high to high from the 810 high anchor. And again, that lines up really, really nicely at about 520s. 520s with magnitude, again, perfectly lining up with the daily magnitude. Meaning the range on the day, so that would be 50 to the negative 23 is 170 points. Again, it's in trend, so you'll be at or above the midpoint on the overnight session, which is that dotted circled line, orange. You're above trend, you're above previous day high, and you've got magnitude to the upside. I mean, it actually does not get any more textbook than that. The only way you get more textbook is if the daily BX was green, but look, it's about to potentially turn green, right? We're negative 3.86. So on the half an hour, are we green on the half an hour? Not quite green. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if that flips. But that is all I'm really going to be looking for today. And again, just to reiterate, 520s, I think would be the area that I would look for. Apart from that, I imagine you may get a full retracement back down to those highs, which is also the overnight low. So I think if 520s doesn't hold, you've potentially got areas of... Yeah, that is the 38. That is the same anchor new high on the 38, just to make that a bit bigger for you. Yeah, so that is the anchor from yesterday's overnight low, open. And that lines up perfectly with a break and retest of these highs. So this is the breakout, this would be the retest, and that would be to go higher. Again, with something like that, it's going to be dependent on how we open, because the trend for the overnight session currently is at 482. So obviously that would be an invalidation of that. So I think... just to keep this really, really simple and for me to not overcomplicate this too much, I think the best or the easiest setups for me are going to come at 520s, and hopefully that holds and goes up. If not, then I think it's a wait for the RTH session to open in 20 minutes. Then we'll have that trend, and hopefully that lines up with around 412s. And just going to have to keep an eye on the BX just to see if we actually can turn green. If not, it could just be a very choppy sort of, downward momentum day. So that will be the indication for me. BX, trend on the open, and if these extensions hold, if they do, we have definitely got magnitude up to 700. So cool. Hopefully that's given you enough of a breakdown. I will jump on to Discord and we will do what we do every day. I will catch you all over there in a second.